Hello friends and welcome back to my channel. My name is Katelyn from Florals.com and today I am back with my July How to Kill a Kit with Style. And again, I do have to reach outside of my kit for a few things for this page, but I think, just seeing the versatility of these wonderful laser cut pages that I put into my kit with a bunch of different supplies has been really fun to work with, and hopefully you guys have enjoyed seeing them. I'll be doing a kit share or a layout share and a kill a kit share at the end of the month so you guys can see all the different options all together, but I have only 2 laser cut sheets left, I think, out of the original 12 that I started with in the full pack. I believe I only had 5 or 6 for this kit, but I'm really excited to use up this yellow one, which has these leaf cutouts, and I pair it with this paper from Craftsmith, and it's just such a beautiful combo with those deep blues and then this fun yellow combo. And today's photo is actually a fall photo. It's technically August, but I'm wearing a fall shirt. It has fall implications. So that's the kind of theme I'm going for. And if you guys remember, my kit is not fall themed at all. So I do pull in embellishments and things from my kit and make it work, but it's kind of interesting how you can have a starting point of a kit for inspiration and then make it work for so many different types of photos. So here I'm going with my Scotch quick dry glue and just essentially trying to put down all the little pieces. I wish I had a spray adhesive, but those can be kind of dangerous, and I am trying to stay away from aerosols, but I think it could be really helpful for something like this, but the liquid adhesive does work in the end. So I will say I did struggle with this color scheme because this particular yellow and the background color of blues was not easy to find anywhere in my stash, let alone in my kit. So you'll see me go through a bunch of paper pads, a bunch of embellishments, and just really kind of searching for something that could work for this. I do pull out this paper pad, which was added into my kit not at the beginning of the month, but throughout the month I ended up adding this in, and it's just some jewel tone cardstocks, and there's this beautiful burgundy color which matches some of the colors on my shirt. So right now the color scheme is based off of the photo, but it's also based off of this lovely yellow in the background because there's not too much yellow in my shirt, but I wanted to use this particular lace pattern because it was reminding me of fall, as well as the paisley print on my shirt in this photo, which is what the photo is all about. So I'm pulling out a ton of different stuff from my kit, and I really don't use all of it, but it's interesting to see how much I pull out versus what I actually use. So I do pull out a chipboard piece from that Paige Evans set, some Heidi Swap tags, a washi tape, some Studio Calico hearts, and then I start reaching outside of my stash. So my 6x6 paper pad, my 6x8 paper pad, and my 8x8 paper pad in this kit did not work for the color scheme. So I do pull out this MFT paper pad and get this wonderful striped, just like a neutral gray color, which, if you guys can tell, the background of this photo is a slightly yellowish wall. It's definitely off-white, but it has warm tones to it. So it's a little bit off, and I thought the grays helped subdue that a bit to tone down the yellowness of it. Then I pull in this wood grain paper from Lawn Fawn, which isn't an exact match to that chipboard piece I pulled out, but it's on the same wavelength as that minty blue color. And I wanted that to have another pop of color, which is, again, not in my shirt, but sort of goes with the background with those 2 tones of blue, and also going to go with some of the embellishments I end up pulling out. And finishing off my photo layers with that burgundy cardstock. If you guys aren't using cardstock in your photo layers, it is a great way to use cardstock. I highly recommend it. It is just a great way to get through those kind of papers that you don't normally feature, because sometimes we just reach for pattern paper too often, and with a layout like this with such a busy background, and I understand it's busy, it's almost too busy for me even, I end up using another piece of that same burgundy style cardstock and making a banner to help everything sort of settle, because if you put too many things on a busy background, it will get even busier and be more confusing or crazy for an onlooker. So here I'm going to create a cluster on top of that banner, as well as a spot for my title. I do end up pulling a couple more chipboard pieces off of this Paige Evans set, mainly that flower, just to have another little spot of copper foil on this layout. But you'll see I end up mixing foils later on because I am a rebel. But you guys can totally mix foils if you wish. It's really a personal decision and what you like in your layouts. But at this point, I'm really struggling with that top right corner because I want it to be more balanced. And sometimes I often forget that there is an opportunity to balance it with things that you don't immediately put on a layout. And as I discussed in my Patreon behind the scenes video when I made this layout, I essentially plan on typing out some really long journaling for this, and it will essentially fill up that top section, which you'll see in the end how it ends up looking. Here I'm going through my die cut binder and pulling out the color scheme that I want. So I'm looking for yellow, which I pulled out, and then some teals to help match this background. But I don't end up liking any of the teals I pull out, but that yellow one does stay, which is good because I've had those for a really long time. I was also looking for elements of copper to pull in because, again, I do have some copper in here, which I remember I do have a Paige Evans copper floral set, which the colors just didn't end up matching, which was a real bummer, but it does end up just, you know, going through it, having some fun with it, and not using it, which is something that happens a lot with us. We go through a lot of supplies, they don't work, we move on to other things. It's important not to get caught up on that, but this part's kind of the fun part when you're digging for that perfect piece to add. And eventually I do find something, so it wasn't totally worthless for searching and searching for something, because that's how you find out what you want. And I do compare a couple of things, but again, sometimes when you do unique color schemes like this, especially not based on a collection or a specific pattern paper or brand, it's hard to match it up. So I'm not going to find this yellow anywhere else in my stash because it's particular to this K & Company brand, or those background blues, which are from Craftsmith, unless I look in those places again. But those are limited resources because I don't even have full sections of any of those left. So as I build out this bottom cluster, I'm thinking about additional die cuts I could bring in. Eventually, I do just shut off the camera and start looking. I just pause the camera, I've spent too much time looking on camera, and just start going through my stash otherwise. This is when I find the Pink Fresh Studio BU collection, which is copper, foiled, and has lovely minty blue colors, as well as some deep blues that work really, really well. Now, I don't end up using many pieces of it, but the couple pieces that I do use help build out the layout so much and make me feel more comfortable with my decision for this bottom cluster section, and it just works really, really well, in my opinion at least. And I'm still struggling to figure out if I want to put something in that top right corner. I do try to use this Heidi Swap tag, which I thought I would because I have the exact same tag in a smaller version at the bottom, but I don't end up doing that either. It's just kind of odd placement. So what I end up doing is starting to glue down these pieces because I am happy with how it's going. And I really like the burgundy with that yellow and blue, and I would say that's my main color scheme, is that beautiful like vintage yellow, that blue background shade, and then I add the burgundy, and then I add the mint, which is definitely not a classic color scheme. It's definitely just some random colors put together, but I think it really works. Granted, the shirt has a ton of these colors in it, and I know it's hard to see from this angle, but I promise it does. I have worn this shirt before, I believe in face-to-face videos, so you guys might remember it. But this was my mom's shirt, so that's what this layout will end up being about, is how I wear her shirts now. Particularly this one I really love. I bought a lot of clothing for her as gifts over the years, so now that they're mine, it's kind of this weird full circle thing, and I really love wearing them. So here's where I want to figure out if I want to add any more little bits and pieces before I start auditioning title options. So I do look at the alphabet that's in my kit, and I don't have enough letters. There's actually only 2 of each letter in that set, which is super annoying, and I really wish they never did that. I don't know who can use up sticker sheets, let alone ones with only 1 of each letter or 2 of each letter. But here I start auditioning this one, which is an American Craft sticker set, which is copper foiled. That's where I thought it might work, but it's just definitely not the right mood and feel, and you'll definitely see me play around with this a little bit more. And I was almost convinced I should use it because of that match, but if it doesn't feel right, guys, maybe you shouldn't use it. There's times when you should listen to your gut when it comes to creativity, because if you hate how it turns out, well, you're not going to love looking at it again and again. So I think you should definitely be cautious of those kind of decisions, especially for sentimental layouts. At least for me, I put a lot of pressure on myself to do those perfectly, quote unquote, all the time. But I think it's important to get the story down, not necessarily the embellishments that go with the photo or with the story. So here I actually go back to my thickers and start looking for something else that could work. And then I stumble across this one, which doesn't have too many letters left in it. It's a beautiful, beautiful script font, and it is gold foil. So as you guys know, there's some copper on here already. I think it ends up working pretty well, and I end up using an H as a Y and an H. and then an 8 as an O, but it ends up working out anyway. And being able to use stickers that are sort of towards the end of their life because of the lack of letters is something that's so magical. It's like you found the golden ticket in the chocolate bar. You know, it's like this is the perfect fit because it has all of the letters, or I can make all the letters that I need. And I'm pretty sure that U is also an N, but it reads as a U in this case. But I will have to glue those down with some extra adhesive after I'm done with this video, because they did put up a fight. I did have to put some weight on top of them after, but to finish off, I end up adding some wood veneer hearts just to go with the theme of this love and reminiscence. So here's a close-up of all those colors and patterns. Let me know what you guys think. Is it too busy? And in that top right section, I'll create a panel for my journaling to sit. But I hope you guys enjoyed this one, and if you did, be sure to give it a thumbs up and subscribe. As always, I will have educational resources linked down below for you guys to check out and to take action for. But thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed, and I will see you guys again very, very soon. Bye, guys.